8:31 here at the Voice of Texas. It's Pat Gray and Ed Hendy, and joining us this morning is Congressman Ron Paul, whom we invited on the show after a little discussion about the congressman the other day. Congressman Paul, welcome to the Voice of Texas.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you.
So we were wondering about, we were talking about some of your record. We were wondering about your stance on certain immigration issues, and your slogan is kind of best friend to the taxpayer's best friend. So how do you back up? How do you back up the phrase?
I just never vote to raise taxes. I always vote to lower taxes. I promised I would do anything I can to get rid of the IRS and income tax. And I've upheld that pledge, and it's always served me well. And the National Taxpayers Union gave me the title, the taxpayer's best friend. So I think it's a pretty good position to hold, and I find it very popular.
Congressman Ed Hendy, listen, I appreciate you coming on the Voice of Texas. You're welcome any time, by the way.
Thank you.
I happen to disagree with you on many of your stances, and I appreciate the fact that you have voted against all these tax increases, but I've checked, in your career in Congress goes back 20 years, more than 20 years, and you've written 6 books, and you vote against every tax increase, yet the taxes continue to go up. The government spending's out of control. How can you say you're effective if in 20-plus years and all the books you've written, you've never authored a bill that's lower tax?
Well, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I'm sure that if you took every one of my bills and voted for them, they wouldn't have enough funds. There would be so much less spending that you could lower taxes indirectly. If the popular opinion of the country is still that government should take care of us from cradle to grave and that we should police the world, and we have an administration that endorses that, it is going to be pretty hard being a participant in the bills that are passed. I mean, I'm not much interested in getting my name on No Child Left Behind. I'm not interested in having my name on the prescription drug program. I'm not much interested in the McCain-Feingold bill. So you say, well, you're not effective, but how do you measure it? Do I stand firm? Do I stand for something? Do I vote on principle? Do I promote something that is very worthwhile? I think that is one thing in being effective. If you can stand for something, you can't say it's not effective. Just because you didn't endorse the only thing that you could endorse, and that is to expand the role of government, contradict everything that I say. I think the measurement of effectiveness varies. If it's how much loot you can return to the district is one thing, but effectiveness is measured by your voters. I mean, if I was totally ineffective, I think the voters would let me know. But when it comes to dealing with my office, you ought to call my veterans groups and find out if I'm effective in taking care of my veterans. I win all kinds of veterans awards for being the most, if one of the best, in taking care of our veterans. And even though I vote against all the taxes and all the spending, we're very efficient in arguing the case that if they've taken our money, we're going to get it back the best we can. So I work very closely with all my municipalities and all the cities, and we do quite well. Matter of fact, there was a study not too long ago, and I think I was second, the 14th district was second in the entire state in getting funds returned, and yet I don't even campaign on that. It's not my goal is to reduce the spending and the size of government.
Well, let me stop you there for a moment, if you don't mind, because I'm looking at your official Ron Paul, the House website, and I'll quote it for you, sir. Quote, I'm sure many American voters would be shocked to know their elected representatives essentially have no say over 2/3 of the federal budget. Even in your own words, you say that the elected representatives can't control 2/3 of the federal budget, so how can you say that this is effective?
Well,
website says
I would say that, what I'm saying is I'm pointing out to you what the situation is like that. The discretionary versus the non-discretionary. I'm telling you about a tragedy. The fact that nobody has any control over the non-discretionary funding, which is the entitlement system. And I say that's wrong. I don't think that's part of the correct process. I don't think it's constitutional. I think everything is discretionary, and that we should be willing to stand on our own and balance our budget and cut back when we have to, instead of endlessly voting for anything the people want, run up the deficits, print the money, borrow the money from China if we have to, and lead us into a financial problem that is approaching rather quickly. So I would say the whole thing is a mess, and my willingness to stand up against it and speak out against the process, a lot of people think that's a very effective way of presenting the case for the Constitution and for individual freedom.
Well, I don't disagree that, I mean, you and I are in agreement that the spending's run away.
Right.
My point is 20-plus years in Congress, first elected in 1976, and we haven't slowed anything down yet, and you say basically it's out of control. I don't know why you don't just quit.
Well, I guess that's awful tempting at times. I think the alternative of giving up is something I haven't been willing to do. But the fact that I have opposed this and preached against it and voted against it consistently, and it wouldn't be that way if they'd have listened to my recommendation and my votes, you can't say, well, there weren't enough of you. Well, what you should do, instead of being critical of my view, you should be out there and say, why don't you get up there and help Ron Paul, because he's on the right track. That's what I need. I don't need criticism for trying to do a good job.
Well, let me continue with it, if you don't mind.
Pardon me?
Back to your website, you say that we of the American military is a nation of preemptive war, secret military tribunals, torture, rejection of habeas corpus, warrantless searches, undue government secrecy, extraordinary renditions, and uncontrollable spying on the American people. Do you think that represents your district?
Which part of that do you disagree with? It doesn't exist. They're all true statements.
Uncontrolled spying on American people,
right.
Torture.
I don't buy that.
Do you understand anything about the Patriot Act? Do you understand how many thousands of warrantless searches were done that the FBI now has admitted to? They can look at your email. They know about your medical privacy, everything about your financial privacy. You have no privacy left. We've developed the national ID card, the real ID, and now American citizens can be held without habeas corpus. I don't understand why people want to be outraged over this.
We've got 20 million illegal aliens in the country, and we were attacked on 9/11. If you did nothing, how would you stop the uncontrolled chaos at the border or keep us from being attacked again?
Well, why attack American people? I mean, it's sort of like registering guns of private citizens to catch the criminals, and the criminals still have the guns. So we register the American people and watch every single thing they do and look at your toothpaste when you get on an airplane and think you'll be safer. And then you take a country like Saudi Arabia that provided 15 of the 19 terrorists that came and attacked us, and we subsidize them and hold them in power. Pakistan has nuclear weapons and harboring Osama bin Laden, and we give them money and protect their nuclear power, and then we attack a country that has nothing to do with 9/11. The whole thing doesn't make any sense.